listen up, yo. Alright, I've been editing on this thing, alright? It's taking me like all day, alright? If you don't like the video or you don't subscribe, I'm gonna Honestly, I really don't care. Just fucking enjoy the video. Hello everybody, Arrow here, and welcome to the review of the Acer, not Asus, Predator Helios 300. This is the new blue-themed 2019 version of this model, so if you're looking for the red-themed review of the latter version of this laptop, then you can head down onto the description of this video where I placed a link to a review of that. However, if you're looking for a review of this year's model, then you're in luck. I happen to have purchased one. In this video, we'll be going over the specs and stats of this laptop. However, there won't be any benchmarks from any other laptops because here at Broke Incorporated, we don't have money to burn on buying all these laptops. If you want to see an unboxing and first impressions of this laptop, then head over to the last video, it's up in the top right, or you can check it out in the description. However, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. When benchmarking this laptop, I decided to use as many benchmarks as I had access to, while not having to go out of my way to spend money for a license. Starting off with the good old Cinebench, we got a respectable score of 2,117, while coming in just below the i7 7700K desktop processor. While this doesn't provide stunning results, it was something to go off of, and since the CPU can't be overclocked, I suppose it is what it is. And since I was curious, I decided to press the good old turbo button, the dedicated GPU overclock button. Even though this was a CPU test, I wasn't expecting much, and, well, the results are... Wait a minute. Oh my god. Oh god, it actually did something. The fuck? There you have it, folks. The first dedicated GPU overclock button that actually does something. On a CPU test? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use a heat gun to see how hot the rest of the laptop got, but the CPU never seems to break 70 degrees Celsius even under load, which is impressive considering how much heat a 6-core processor should be generating. However, this processor may have a mind of its own considering the fact that a GPU overclock increased its score. For the next benchmark, I decided to test UserBench, and I got some interesting results from this one, I must say. I first tested it without the turbo mode to get some base numbers, and I got a damn respectable laptop benchmark of 84% gaming, 88% desktop, and 71% workstation. After being impressed with these results, I was curious to see what the turbo button might do. Well, the turbo button actually boosted the performance of all of my components in the laptop, something that I wasn't expecting. It even boosted the performance of my 1TB SSD that I installed after I got the laptop. Wait, it better not get higher scores. What the? Okay, so it got a really low score. Wait, but it's higher on everything else! What the? What? Why? I am just baffled by this damn turbo button. It's actually a turbo button for once. What? 84 to 91, 88 to 96, 71 to 83. That's a solid increase. What the fuck? 99.7, 91.6, 128. Even it did better. Okay, hold on. 112. 128, 112, 128, 78, 91. And then at the top, 86 to 90. RAM, 78 to 80. Why is a turbo button that increases the GPU clock giving me better everything scores? It had done the impossible. The GPU overclock button, the turbo button, whatever you want to call it, is damn good so far. Using Performance Test 9.0, I benchmarked it and holy cow! This thing got in the 97th percentile overall, and 95th and 96th percentile for CPU and GPU overall. There's no way that the turbo button could actually boost those numbers even higher, right? Unfortunately, not. It wasn't that effective for this benchmark. I don't really know why, but hey, it's been good for us so far. In all these tests, the CPU never broke 70 degrees Celsius and the GPU never broke 55. Even when the turbo mode fan is in auto fan control mode, it kept the CPU from getting over 70 degrees and the GPU from getting over 65 degrees. For this next benchmark, I don't really know what a good or bad score is because I don't really use this benchmark that much. Feel free to let me and everyone else know down in the comments below. In Geekbench, I ran the test that was supposed to take about 2 minutes to 10 minutes in about 45 seconds. And geez, that's a big number. I didn't really have anything to compare this to, but it seems good, and the turbo button only made it, a lot better. If you know where this lies on the good to bad scale, please let me know down in the comments below. For Nova Bench, I wasn't sure what to expect out of this benchmark since I don't really use it that often. However, the scores were pretty astonishing in my opinion. The Helios 300 was better in overall score and CPU score by 45 and 104%, and only 3% below on the GPU side. And the funny thing is, if you look at the GPU they are comparing it to, it says the GTX 1070, which user benchmark says, about 6% faster. What a coinkadink. Even compared to a high-end gaming PC, it still fares pretty well, only achieving an 11% lower GPU score. Next up, one of the most iconic benchmarks, Heaven. I started by benchmarking this once again without the turbo mode first, and then with. All the settings were maxed out at 1080p, and the Helios 300 achieved an average FPS of 70.5 and a max of 152.5. I wasn't paying that close attention, but I think the 8.7 minimum FPS was just a lag spike, and if so, it would be the first one I've gotten on this laptop so far. With the turbo mode on, it achieved an average FPS of 76.6 and a max of 165.7. A solid increase. Since we already know that the turbo button equals God mode basically, the next couple of tests will only be with it on. In Unigine superposition, there's not much to say here. On the highest preset, it achieved an average of 63.8 FPS and a max GPU temp of 61 degrees. Nice. And last but definitely not least, Firestrike and Time Spy. And wow, respectable scores for a gaming laptop in 2019. It's no 2080 Ti, but it fares pretty well. And in fact, on Firestrike, it scores 73% better than all results, and it is well above the score of other gaming laptops. It is the same story with Time Spy 2. Impressive. Now that we've gotten all the benchmarking out of the way, let's do what this laptop was made for. Gaming. I will be running all my games in turbo mode, so your results may vary depending on your overclock settings. In Counter-Strike Global Offensive, on max settings, I was in an isolated area and I was seeing about 180 to 190, and during actual playing, I managed to get around 170 to 180 FPS, with highs up in the 220s. While recording with OBS, I was getting around 90 to 110 FPS. By the way, did they buff the sod off? Jeez. During all of this, the GPU maintained a cool 60 degrees Celsius and a slightly toastier 70 degrees Celsius on the CPU. The only thing that was hot was the metal section above the keyboard, and I found that sadly, it can get scorching hot if your laptop's not in turbo mode, and I mean scorching hot. In GTA 5 on max settings, I was getting it around 100 to 115 in story mode, and while recording at a high bitrate with OBS, I was seeing about 85 to 95 FPS. In GTA Online, I was seeing anywhere from 55 to 70 FPS. I wouldn't recommend recording or streaming GTA 5 unless you plan on turning down the settings a bit. For Black Ops multiplayer, I was seeing around an average of 80 FPS on medium to high settings, and while recording on the same settings, I was getting an average of 60 to 75 FPS. For Fortnite, on epic settings, I was getting around 80 to 100 FPS, and while recording I was getting around 60 to 80 on epic settings. Oh, and in Apex Legends on high settings, I was getting around... Oh, wait, what's that? Oh, Apex is a poop game and it wouldn't install because of a stupid error? Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I guess no Apex, but based on the rest of the games, I think you can get a gauge on how it performed. Now that we're done with how this laptop performs in benchmarks and games, let's get into some of the things I've noticed after a few days of use. First off, WTF. Apparently my model came with a defunct software bug that doesn't allow me to change the backlighting of the keyboard in Predator Sense. It literally doesn't even have a tab there. It's literally a feature of this model. Besides that, I've noticed the Waves Max Audio thing combined with the Acer True Harmony makes your computer sound like ass. It literally sounds like you're in a really muffled theater. Ew. Also, the power cord doesn't really have a great spot to sit, and it always looks like it's bent, or at least it will be after it's continuously pulled on like that. Also, the intervals in which the Predator Sense updates the laptop temperatures is really slow. And on that subject, the little metal area above the keyboard gets really hot, and I mean scorching hot. I put my finger on there and I almost have to take it away. Even though there's all these kind of things about the laptop, contrastingly, there's a lot of good things about this laptop. The hinge, it is smooth. And the keyboard, nice, tactile. Touchpad, very responsive, but not too sensitive. The backlighting, supposed to be RGB, but not mine, cause fuck me. The glowing logo, ooh, lights. The 144Hz IPS 1080p display, oh, so buttery. The killer Double Shot Pro Wi-Fi adapter, damn is it good, like actually really good. The mini display port that allows for 244Hz at 1080p and supports G-Sync. Turbo button equals God mode, confirmed. 3 USB 3.1 ports plus a USB-C port. Connectivity. As for the battery life, it's decent. It's lasted me about 3 to 4 hours as long as I'm not doing anything too resource intensive. And I'm sure if you turn down the backlight a couple of steps and you turn down the brightness a couple of steps, you'll get maybe another hour out of it. So overall, it's a pretty decent battery, but it's no 6-hour battery. And last, but definitely not least, all these benchmarks took place with all of my files from my old laptop and the files that I had to install when I got the laptop on it. It wasn't just a factory blank one, so all the scores and performance you'll see is probably pretty close to what you might get on yours. In the end, overall,
I know I'm not supposed to give my opinion,
but I think the Acer Predator Helios 300 is an amazing laptop that has a good competitive price and packs a punch that you need to stay 2019 gamer quote-unquote ready. Which is why I'm going to give it the almost meaningless Arrow stamp of approval. Anyways guys, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Please consider heading over to my Patreon as it will help me fund future videos just like this, as well as help me grow as a YouTuber. Also, please let me know what you thought of this laptop and this video down in the comments section below. This is Arrow, and see you on the next video. Peace.